The global approach in the New York Declaration is simply not compatible with U.S. sovereignty.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports U.S. drugstore chain operator CVS Health Corp. said on Sunday it had agreed to acquire U.S. health insurer Aetna for $69 billion, seeking to tackle soaring healthcare spending through lower-cost medical services in pharmacies. This year's largest corporate acquisition will combine one of the nation's largest pharmacy benefits managers and pharmacy operators with one of the oldest health insurers, whose national business ranges from employer health care to government plans. The deal comes after Aetna's $37 billion plan to acquire smaller U.S. health insurer Peer Humana was blocked in January by a U.S. federal judge over antitrust concerns. Aetna shareholders stand to receive $207 per share in the deal with CVS. The consideration comprises $145 per share in cash and approximately 4.2 shares of CVS for every 5 shares of Aetna. Aetna shareholders will own about 22% of the combined company, while CVS shareholders will own the remainder. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Saying that he was giving his coworkers at Marley Publishing just a few more days to catch on to him, local mentally unstable man Michael Redding told reporters he planned on exhibiting 1 or 2 more warning signs this week before, quote, finally doing this.
I think I'll do just a couple of disconcerting things in front of people here at the office. Maybe give them a day or 2 to take action through the appropriate channels. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm going through with it.
The fully unhinged Redding, who plans on, quote, making this thing happen sometime next week, claims that despite displaying erratic and worrisome behavior around the office for the past few months, his actions have gone completely unreported by his coworkers.
I definitely talked about my frustration with life in general, and I even discussed my fascination with all sorts of violence. But that still didn't throw up any red flags. We'll see if anyone catches on.
Mike? I don't know him super well, but he's nice enough. He's quiet and he keeps to himself mostly, but I'm sure he'll come out of his shell. Just a matter of time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You may take control of the airwaves if you want to join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, you can join us online anytime you want. Just head over to freetalklive.com, and you can find all kinds of features available for you there, completely free, unlike a lot of those other talk shows in the world that charge you for their websites. We do it free, and so enjoy over at freetalklive.com. And again, toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Coming up, got some interesting court-related news, some shocking video coming out of a courtroom, I guess the court lobby in Michigan, where a man who attempted to protest a $10 traffic fine by paying it with pennies is now seeking damages after court officers beat him and choked him to the point of defecation. We can tell you about that coming up here in moments. Ian and Melanie in the studio here tonight. But Melanie, you wanted to go in a bit of a different direction this evening with a story about adolescence and the idea that it is basically a social construct.
Right. So, and this is something I've kind of said for the past 10, 15 years, and nobody believed me because I didn't have a PhD in psychology from Harvard, so rightfully they shouldn't. But this guy does, Dr. Epstein.
Well, just because somebody has a PhD doesn't mean you should believe them either.
Well, if they have a PhD in what they're saying, what they're speaking on, like if he was speaking on chemistry, we shouldn't believe him because he studied psychology. So.
Sure, but people with PhDs can still have an agenda, right? They can still manipulate statistics or, set up a study in a way that could glean certain results that they were looking to find. I mean, you still have to be skeptical of what somebody says, even if they've got the doctor
right,
in
but
front
this
of
guy
them.
who studied it for 6 years versus me who just said, I really feel this way.
No doubt. It's
is
going
a
to
little
give some
bit
credence.
different.
Yeah, it's going to give some credence to what the guy has to say. I'll give you that. So, yeah, please, go ahead.
So I heard him on an interview a couple of days ago, and he has a website, drrobertsepstein.com.
That name sounds familiar.
He
Anyway,
says that essentially society made up adolescence. It's not a real thing. You don't see it in a lot of cultures. Even currently, you definitely don't see it in the past because people didn't have 5, 10, 15 years to just kind of spend being prevented from doing anything useful.
Does he define at some point in this, is this an article written by him or about him?
I have a small article, I guess, that he wrote. I have his website, and I listened to the interview that he did a couple days ago.
So the definition of adolescence being, according to dictionary.com, the transitional period between puberty and adulthood in human development, extending mainly over teen years and terminating legally when the age of majority is reached. So anyway, that's what the dictionary says adolescence is.
Right, and I think he would pretty much agree with that. He was talking about the time from you becoming an adult until basically we allow you the rights of adults as far as contracts and working and being able to move out, that we've kind of created and then continued to extend this kind of fictional age range where we're still kind of treating you like a child. You're not a child, you're an adult for most of that time. And we're preventing you from doing anything that would better your life. Like you can't start your own business, you can't get most jobs, you can't, and even if you can get them, there's limits on how much you can work and what kind of breaks you have to take.
Right, I mean, this definition here saying that adolescence terminates when the age of majority is reached obviously has nothing whatsoever to do with when somebody's mature enough to take care of themselves, right? Like the arbitrary age that government sets, the age of majority, in many states is 18 years old, but there are some people who reach the whatever mental capacity they need before that, or after that. So obviously, by the definition of the dictionary, adolescence, is just a construct, right? Like it's if it's going to end at a date and time when politicians say it ends, it's not a real thing.
Right, and whether you go with the legal age or, I mean, there's some people that still have other people controlling them through college or through 19 because they haven't graduated high school yet, and the law says they have to or they can't, or either whether the law says they have to or they have to have that piece of paper for whatever reason, even though they may or may not be learning anything, or they may or may not be learning anything in an efficient manner. Like, does it really take 4 years or 18 years to show you how to do basic math and some history and a little bit of science? Probably not. But yeah, so then he goes into the history of work restrictions on young people, that those are a fairly recent thing.
As in, like, within the last half a century, kind of recent?
In the 60s, he says, when it really got bad, it didn't start until the 30s.
Well, the big excuse for that, and I want to hear what he has to say about it, but the big excuse is, well, we don't want kids to, lose their arms in factory work. It's dangerous out there in the working world. We got to protect children.
Well, if people are routinely losing their arms at a particular job, maybe that's not a safe job for anybody, whether they're 15 or 40. But that's kind of a separate issue.
Well, the argument would, I think, then further be that somebody who's older might have more situational awareness about, putting themselves in danger from having arms ripped out of their sockets and caught in big gears and things like that.
I mean, that's completely individualistic.
Sure.
I mean, but
Anyway, go ahead with what
And
you have
not
to say.
all jobs are highly dangerous
No, certainly not.
factory jobs.
But that was one of the excuses, I think, when they brought out those rules. I think ultimately it is this sort of overparenting, helicopter parent, this safety obsession mentality of trying to keep kids away from any kind of thing that might interfere with their childhood, right? Like there's this idea that
Right, but that's over at 15, 16, 17. Like that's you were a child a while ago, you're not one anymore.
Right,
at this
right.
point you're just basically a slave.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about just rules that prevent even children from working. I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people who are young could benefit from, being able to get out there and do a job or start their own business or whatever. I mean, I was just at the conference, the Bitcoin conference over the weekend in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and there was a 10-year-old boy who was selling Bitmugs. In fact, we interviewed him on the air, and honestly, he was a better interviewee than a lot of the Bitcoin geeks that we've had on from many of the Bitcoin conferences that we've had over the years. He was great. For his age, he was very, very good on the air, and he's sold over 1,000 of these mugs in just the last 3 or 4 years of his life because he was able to start that business because his parents supported him in that. And I think that that has done a lot of good things for that young man. Besides the fact that he's sitting on a gold mine of Bitcoin as a result of doing it, it's just that the government rules that prevent young people from working, I think it's the intention of this. It basically keeps young people childlike for longer. And I think that's a bad thing.
I think that the state has a vested interest in keeping people treated like a child for as long as possible. That way, when the state does it throughout their life, they're more or less used to it.
That makes sense.
But as far as truancy laws go, the Supreme Court flat out said that one of the purposes of public schooling was to integrate immigrants, so basically to Americanize you. So even according to the government, it's more for social reasons than for educational reasons.
Let's talk about more about this subject here, because you've barely even gotten into whatever story. What's the source on this, by the way? What's the website that you're getting this from? We'll find that out here in moments. 855 450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is lrn.fm, and you can get your Blink home security system delivered to you, or maybe somebody you care about this holiday season. You go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's /FTL like Free Talk Live, and you'll get 3 Blink cams for what some of the other guys will charge you for 1 security camera. And these things work well, surprisingly well for the price. So you go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. When they arrive, you'll get easily be able to set this thing up. You just plug in. There's one wire in the whole system. The cameras themselves are wireless. So the one wire you plug in is the power for the hub that you then connect the cameras to wirelessly with your Wi-Fi enabled device like a smartphone or a tablet. And it's just such a simple setup process. No drilling holes, running wires, setting up a confusing DVR, none of that stuff. It's super easy. And when something happens in front of the camera, it will shoot over to you on your Wi-Fi device or smartphone or whatever. It'll shoot that over to you, the clip of what happened. So wherever you are, you know what's happening in your home or your small office. Check it out at blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. We're going to get back. I want to get deeper into this because we barely scratched the surface, but I'd asked you what the source of the story that you're sharing with us
It's
is.
drrobertepstein.com.
Okay, so his own website, he's making the argument that adolescence is a social construct.
And he doesn't use that phrase, but he's saying that society created it.
Okay, so we'll get into that a little bit further here, but let's go first to John in Philadelphia, watching on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Go ahead, John. John in Philly? John going once? Do we have John in Philly? John going twice. Tell you what, we're going to put John on hold. There might be some kind of technical difficulty behind the scenes. Let's try Steve calling from Littleton. I don't know where Littleton is, but Steve, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it would be good, and I support the fact that children should be able to go out and work and earn a living. I've worked since I was 4 years old. I could barely walk, and my father ran a construction company and used to take me out and work me like a full-grown man. And there are some bad things about that, though.
Like what?
I think that people need to be careful because the type of work you put a child through can wear out their body at an early age.
Okay.
I'm only 38 years old now, and I feel like I'm about 70.
Well,
that's
I mean,
something I
working
think
construction is just generally a brutal form of labor that is going to, wear somebody out. That's just, no matter what age you start working construction, it's gonna do a number on you. From the construction people I've known, that's what they've told me.
Yeah, exactly. And I done concrete construction all my life, and they say that most concrete guys are done by about the age 50. Well. If you think most people start working about 18, then that would explain why my body's shot at 38.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a good thing for children to learn. You just got to kind of use your own discretion as a parent as to what you allow them to do. I mean, I had my first pickup truck at 9. I was driving.
Wow.
And I used to clean out a small orchard for my neighbor and make money, and it taught me how to run a business.
Can you even reach the pedals at age 9?
Yeah, and I used to sit on a small pillow like what you it was a Chevy Love with it was 4 or 5 speed on the floor.
Uh-huh.
And I'd sit on a pillow and look under the steering wheel across the dash. And I mean, it was good because it taught me how to run a business. My neighbor had about 8 apple trees, and he'd call me occasionally to come and pick the ground apples up, and then I'd drive them down the road into my dad's field and throw them out, and I'd even hire my brother to help for a couple dollars. So it was really neat and a good experience. I even used that truck to take my brother to his friend's house and would charge him a taxi fare of $2 to $5, depending on what he got for allowance that week.
Yeah, it is a good experience, I think, and it helps you learn how to interact with other people who aren't your age, which is one of the big problems with the government school system. Is it just keeps children in with other people their age. They don't have the opportunity to interact with adults, with the exception of whatever the teachers are, and that I think also contributes to keeping people childlike for as long as possible. Steve, thanks for calling and sharing your story tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. My mom started me working as young as I can recall. She used to have a thrift store, still does, in Florida where I grew up, and I helped her around the store, ran the cash register, helped move furniture around, went with her when she went garage sailing and buying the stuff. So I saw the whole thing and how it all worked, and I think that was incredibly beneficial for me. But anyway, Melanie, let's continue with the story here.
Right, so he says that because people always ask this.
Dr. Epstein.
Right, that he's a father of 4 children, and this is an old article, but he gave an interview about a week ago and didn't contradict anything that I can remember in here. Mm-hmm. One of whom is 15, and who he considers to be basically an adult. He says he balanced work and play far better than I did, and he seems quite ready to live on his own. Why, I wondered, was he not allowed to drive or vote, and why did he have so few options?
Now, how old was the child we're talking about?
15.
Okay.
Simply because of his...
That's not a child. Anyway,
right. Simply because of his age, he couldn't own property or do any interesting or fulfilling work, and he had no choice but to attend high school for several more years before getting on with his, quote, real life.
Can't have a bank account unless your parents co-sign it with you, which means, of course, if your parents aren't trustworthy, they then have full access.
Right, so you still can't have a bank account. Right. You can just be a signer on your parents' bank account. So, yeah, so he can't. So if you have...
My girlfriend, who was a teenager, still is, but anyway, she's not my girlfriend anymore, but she was...
I thought she was 20 now.
She's 20. I guess you're right. She is 20 now. But anyway, she when she was a teenager, she had one of these shared bank accounts, and her parents would just take money out of it. So, how are you supposed to do anything?
Just having a bank account with anybody who you're not married to is not really the world's best idea. But if you need a bank account and you're underage, you're kind of screwed.
If your mom or dad is an alcoholic, a drug addict of some sort, somebody who's really bad with money, you can't achieve any savings unless you put it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, or what? Well, and that's fairly recent too.
Yes,
so
very recent.
What I would tell people,
that's going to be a game changer for a lot of
what
teenagers.
I would tell 18-year-olds when they ask me is, why do I need a separate account? why can't I just keep the one I have? I've had it since I was 14 or whatever. It has my parents' name on it. I'm like, do you trust your parents? And some of them would be like,
Many of
yeah.
them are like,
I'm
no.
like, do you trust your siblings? Well, what does that have to do with anything? Your parents are going to die, and that money's in their name.
Ooh,
so
right.
The bank doesn't care that it's your money and that your parents never deposited anything. The bank cares whose name is on the account because that's what they're going to get in trouble by.
Take the hour of your life, go to the bank,
go to the bank
and create a new account and move the money over. We'll tell you more here from Dr. Epstein. He's talking about his 15-year-old son, was it? That basically is ready to be an adult, but the government won't let him. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here and join us on Free Talk Live. Share your thoughts and your experience.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Bigot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. Although we're talking right now about the idea that adolescence is a social construct, and we're going to continue that discussion here. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
And Melanie.
Bitcoin.com. I mentioned Bitcoin in the last segment as a solution, that at least one solution that can help young people actually begin to build wealth for themselves at a very, very young age. Gave an example of AC Bitmugs, who we interviewed over the weekend at the Bitcoin conference, at a blockchain conference here in New Hampshire. Incredible young man who is very successful by all indicators. I mean, he has been selling mugs for years for Bitcoin, and I mean, I don't know how much of it he saved, but I suspect it was most of it, and I think he's probably doing very well for himself right now. Because when you're young, you can't get a bank account unless your parents say it's okay, and then, of course, their name's on it, so they're really the ones who are in control of it.
So you can't get a bank account.
So you can't get a bank account, but you can get a Bitcoin wallet. You can get a Dash wallet. You can get a, fill-in-the-blank cryptocurrency wallet. You don't have to ask anyone's permission for that. The government has no jurisdiction over cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So if for whatever reason you are a young person and you haven't yet heard of Bitcoin, I suspect you probably have, you can probably go and get your wallet from a variety of different locations. Bitcoin.com, though, is the best place to go to start learning about Bitcoin. Whether you're young or elderly, it's never too late to get into Bitcoin, even though the price right now, as we're doing this show, is not quite at a record high, but it's been flirting with it here tonight. It's at over $11,500 right now for one Bitcoin. So go to Bitcoin.com. Not only do they have just introductory information about Bitcoin and getting you set up, learning about what it is, get you set up with a wallet. You can also connect with other cool features like tools.bitcoin.com that have that's where you can convert between Bitcoin and U.S. dollars and other currencies and kind of get a quick conversion if you ever need to get a price on something. Or you can go to pool.bitcoin.com to get into Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash mining. And there's much more, including their news site at news.bitcoin.com. They've got a forum as well. Just go to bitcoin.com to get started into the Bitcoin universe. So, Melanie, we're going to continue here. You've got more from Dr. Robert Epstein. And he was talking about his 15-year-old son, who he says is ready for the next stage in life. He's an adult by Dr. Epstein's vision or his viewpoint, but the state and the system and society just won't let him. Tell us more.
Right. So then he decided to research some stuff. Were people always like this? And he says at one point, he doesn't think that the human race would have survived if we always had this limit of 18. Because people got married much younger, they had kids much younger. If everybody had to wait till they were 18 to even start working, he says he thinks we probably would have died off a long time ago.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's entirely true, but it's...
Well, people were dying at much younger ages a long time ago, and 35 would have been kind of old age way back in the
Although
day.
if you're not working at all, I mean, getting food is work, so yeah, if people just weren't working until they were 18, they probably would have all starved to death at some points in human history.
Right.
The first compulsory school law was in... I cannot ever pronounce the state, but in Mass in 1852. Yes.
Okay. You can't pronounce Massachusetts?
I always mess it up. It sounds weird when I say it.
I want to say it. I want to hear what
Massachusetts.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
See, I can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And then even then it was a competency-based rule. So if you could demonstrate that you already knew what the state was teaching, then you didn't have to go. So it wasn't right. So it wasn't an age limit. It was everybody has to learn this stuff limit.
Times they have changed.
Yeah, and now In a lot of states, you can drop out when you're 16, and some you can't drop out till you're 18.
That's right. New Hampshire is one of those.
Regardless of what you know, regardless of... And in a lot of places, you can't, like, speed that up. You can't test out of stuff. You can't... Everybody's supposed to learn at the same rate, being based on their age. And then everybody's supposed to learn the same stuff. Which I know they're supposed to be basic classes, but... I mean, people still have different interests, and if it's really that basic, does it take 18 years? Because people start school now sometimes at like 4 years old and 3 years old, so you're getting like almost the full 18 years.
Right. And, government school has historically just gotten more expensive and more ridiculous and, more one-size-fits-all over time. And so it's really, I mean, you could even argue that it's abuse to send your kids to a government school.
I mean, I do argue that regularly.
Yeah.
But, and then...
At the least, it's neglectful, if it's not abuse.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily neglectful, because if you're educating them outside of those 8 hours or 7 hours or whatever it is a day, you could still be meeting their needs otherwise, but you're sending them to a state institution every day.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as like a day prison, basically. I understand.
I mean, it is, and he says in here that young people have half, or he didn't say half, he said twice the restrictions of people in prison, which kind of validates something that I tell people regularly. If I had a choice between being under 18 again or going to jail, well, we're going to jail. So, because you have more rights in jail than you do just kind of having committed the crime of not being old enough.
Right. So what else does Epstein have to say?
So then he went into the labor laws and the truancy laws, that they kind of grew up gradually over time. He said what I said about the Supreme Court. They outright stated that they were requiring public school to Americanize people, not to educate people. He doesn't cite the case, but I remember reading that in law school.
Labor laws, he says they've gotten worse over time, right? Does he give any specific examples? It seems like you are kind of doing an overview, which is fine, but I mean, is there anything specific?
Well, this article is kind of an overview, so that he says...
Because we know that, for instance, labor laws make it even harder for teenagers to work, depending on how young they are. So you can legally work, at least the last time I looked at the laws when I was younger, you can legally work at 14, but almost no one wants to hire you.
But you really can't, because you have to take, like, I know in Louisiana you would have to take a half-hour break every 3 hours. You could only work between, like, 8 a.m. and 7 p.m.
That's why they don't want to hire you.
So it's like they make you unemployable.
Exactly.
They pretend like you're allowed to work, but really you're not, is kind of what's going on at 14 and 15.
Most companies won't even consider somebody who's under the age of 16, because once you hit that age, then the restrictions become lessened. You still have some restrictions compared to an 18-year-old, for instance, but it's not as bad as a 14 or 15-year-old. And so basically, most companies just don't even. You can't work.
Yeah,
here.
I've never seen a company that hired under 16.
Back when I was younger, and maybe it's changed now. I don't know. Maybe it's even worse than it was. It probably is worse than it was, 20 years ago when I was looking for my first legal job. You could bag groceries at age 14 at Publix. And that was, I think, about it.
Yeah. Okay, and that was a while ago. And
that was a grocery
since
store.
I've looked, or not since I've looked, but since I've been around, I haven't seen any.
Wow. If you want to share your experience with us here working at a young age or being refused work at a young age, you're welcome to join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Because, in my opinion, everybody deserves freedom. Even if you're a young person, you still should have the ability to make a life for yourself. You should have the ability to strike out and be an entrepreneur or work for somebody. Obviously, your parents, if they're taking care of you, have a say in something like this. So we can address some of this coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts, your experience as well. 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on idstronghold.com. idstronghold.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything you want. We're talking right now about adolescence. Is it a social construct? We're going to dig further into that. You can also share your thoughts on Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm, so feel free to call us there. It'll sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us if you do that. And speaking of being in the studio, we, Ian and Melanie here tonight, we're also on our webcam, which you can go to cam.freetalklive.com. And you can see the show live when we're live from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. And then later on, if you want to watch it later, you can just go to our YouTube channel at youtube.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right there, and then you can watch, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of shows that we've got on our YouTube channel. Of course, we've got archives that are audio format over at freetalklive.com, and those go back for like a decade. So check it all out over at freetalklive.com. Let's go to Scott in Massachusetts, because you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live. I believe this is Scott the Bigot. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, good morning. Good evening,
Good evening.
Ian, Melanie, and I wish Mark was there. He's like to talk to him as well. The reason
He'll be
why
back
I'm
in a
calling
couple
you,
days. Go ahead.
What's that?
I said he'll be back in a couple days.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm calling you, Ian, is that I want to thank you for over the years for taking my call. Today my mom died. Her name was Sandra. I know you used to joke a lot about that, but I don't hold that against you.
I didn't joke about your mom dying,
I know.
obviously.
She died today at 10:11 a.m. in the morning.
I'm sorry to hear that. Was she in the hospital, or did it just
No, she died in the hospital, and I'm going to be emotional, and I'm going to lose my composure, but I really don't care. All the anti-Semitic remarks that I have said on your program over the years, I apologize.
Wow.
My dad died 4 months ago, August 4th, 2017. My mom died today, December 4th, 2017. I have no brothers or sisters or no family. So it's going to be time for me to leave. And
whoa.
Where are you going?
Wait, what do you mean time for you to
I'd
leave?
like to go to London.
Oh,
That's where
okay.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go to London, the greatest city in the world. And
have you ever been there before?
I've been there many times before. And it's a great city. It really is. And I know I've said bigoted things. I'm very bitter about a lot of things. And, it's true I am a mama's boy. Today I got to see her for the last time. I kissed her. I said, I loved you, Mom. And I'm going to bury her Wednesday. I won't be calling your show again. I want to thank you for taking my calls over the years, even though I said a lot of rotten things. And
well, Scott, I want to say
that's about all I wanted to say.
Well, don't go. I want to say apology accepted. I'm sorry to hear that this has happened to you, and I want to say, if you want to call in from London, we've got Skype. You can always call us there. It's an easy way to call the show and maybe tell us about your new life and how things are going for you. What was it? I mean, I don't want to speculate too much here, but was it the fact that maybe the deaths that you've had close to you made you realize that life is a precious short thing, and that you shouldn't spend your time in life hating other people?
Yes. Doesn't I'm going to say something that I'm going to put on the table. All right? I'm a self-hating Jew. When my father died, I tried to get a rabbi many times to see him, and they would never come because all the Jews ever wanted was money. When my mom died, I had a Catholic priest or a Protestant minister talk to her. So I have not been truthful. I am Jewish, and I hate what I am for a lot of reasons. And so I haven't been entirely honest with you.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, because people who hate themselves, at least in my experience,
people who don't hate themselves don't portray a lot of hate, I guess.
Right. So people who hate themselves, they're sort of who they are is really a negative person inside because they can't find anything to love about themselves, and ultimately that manifests out in negativity towards others. So I would say to you that if you have been able to come to grips with the fact that being hateful towards others has been ultimately negative for you, that I hope that somehow you can find some love for yourself. Maybe this new journey for you over to London will help you find some new space and maybe grow as an individual, and try to find the things about you that that are good. You must have good aspects to you, Scott. I'm sure that you do. I'm sure that you...
I'd just like to say one thing, and then I'm going...
Okay.
Regarding America, forget about blacks and Jews and whatever. I've never seen such a selfish country, a mean-spirited country. I know I didn't help with my opinions. How cruel the mean-spiritedness out there, the selfishness, addiction to sports and alcohol and perversion and all kinds of things. And America's just, in many regards, has just become a horrible country.
Well, I think you're going to find that the United Kingdom isn't much better in a lot of ways. But regardless, it's nice to have a change of scenery. And I want to say, Scott, thank you. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. And,
thank you. Thank you for taking my calls over the years.
Thank you for the apology tonight. And I do hope that we'll hear from you again. Thank you, Scott. Scott, no longer a bigot, perhaps? I appreciate hearing from you, and good luck. Wow. That is a surprise. I mean, he's called this show for, I don't know, the last 7 years or something like that. There was a long period where he didn't call. There were a few years where he didn't call, and then recently he's been calling again within the last year. I don't know, 7 years, maybe more. And he's just always been so vitriolic, so negative, and to hear that change, I hope it's permanent. I hope that that he's come to those conclusions for good.
Yeah.
You don't have the same history with him as
no,
we
I mean,
do,
I've only been on here for a year and a half, something like that. Yeah.
You've heard his calls. Any comments? I mean, besides...
Yeah, I mean, that's a really unfortunate thing to happen. I don't know if he's still listening or not. Yeah, I mean, people who are angry tend to be mostly angry at themselves, and that doesn't mean that whoever they're angry at isn't a valid target. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Sure.
Racial groups never are.
No, because then you're picking on groups rather than individuals.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was defining Jews as racially or religious, but, I mean, regardless of what you are or aren't, your experience with a single rabbi or a handful of rabbis or whatever, that has nothing to do with you. Like, that doesn't have to define
who you are.
You could be, a good person just because a handful of rabbi. Even if every rabbi on the earth did that still has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with Jewish people either, because there's good people in all groups.
Right. And
bad people.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounded like his family was gone, but, I mean, hopefully he can make some friends in London if that's where he's going.
Your toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. If you want to comment on Scott the Big, or I feel bad now calling him Scott from Massachusetts. If you want to comment on his transition or that call, you're certainly welcome to add in here. I don't know if there's much else that we can add to this besides just reiterating the idea that I imagine it's probably challenging for somebody who hates themselves to stop, to find things about yourself, to appreciate and to like. I've never been in that position. I mean, I've been angry in the past, but it was never because of self-hatred. It was always because of what was going on out there, like anger towards the government and the police and the violence.
Or I'm not saying that every time somebody's angry, it's because they hate themselves. But people who are like angry 24/7 all the time, that's usually the case.
Yeah, so I don't know how challenging it is. I suspect it's very challenging for somebody who hates themselves to shift that paradigm. And if you've had an experience with that might be a useful phone call here, especially if Scott is still listening. I don't know how much he actually listens, but maybe he is. If you want to call in and share what it was like for you, if you've shifted from somebody who is full of self-hatred to somebody who came to a point of appreciating themselves, and how that changed you and how that changed your life and the things that came into your life after that, because whatever you are is your point of attraction. That's the kind of people you're going to attract into your life. That's the kind of experiences you're going to attract into your life. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, December 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,273 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $11,119. Antiwar.com reports the Kurdish YPG forces have announced substantial gains in eastern Syria's Deir ez-Zor province, taking new territory along the Iraqi border and east of the Euphrates River away from the Islamic State. The territory captured was some of the very little remaining to the Islamic State in the Deir ez-Zor province, and territory of limited value. It was noteworthy, however, in that both the U.S. and Russian forces backed the offensive. That's a change, as while previously the Russians have supported the YPG in limited engagement, during the Deir ez-Zor offensive, the U.S. has been supporting YPG exclusively, while the Russians supported the Syrian government, sort of a rush to seize as much the Islamic State territory as possible. In addition to the support of the U.S. and Russia, the Kurds claimed the push was backed by Arab militias in the area. This comes amid Kurdish efforts to set up civil councils to rule their portion of the Deir ez-Zor province. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports American officials told the United Nations it would be withdrawing from a global agreement on the Treaty of Refugees and Migrants because it is inconsistent with U.S. immigration policies. The U.S. mission to the United Nations made the notification Saturday, 2 days before the start of a global conference on migration in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The United States signed the non-binding New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants in 2016 under President Barack Obama. Member states signing the pact pledged to uphold the rights rights of refugees, assist in resettlement, and provide access to education and jobs. A statement from the U.S. mission said the New York Declaration contains numerous provisions that are inconsistent with U.S. immigration and refugee policies and Trump administration's immigration principles. As a result, President Trump determined that the United States would end its participation in the compact process that aims to reach international consensus at the UN in 2018. On Friday, Trump also decided the United States would not participate in the Mexico talks, a three-day meeting on the New York Declaration, and discuss humane ways of dealing with millions of migrants. Unnamed diplomatic sources told Foreign Policy magazine that White House Chief of Staff John Kelly and Attorney General Jeff Sessions were in strong support of pulling out of the meeting. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley said in a statement on Saturday, "Our decision on immigration policies must always be made by Americans and Americans alone. We will decide how best to control our borders and who will be allowed to enter our country. The global approach in the New York Declaration is simply not compatible with U.S. sovereignty." For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports U.S. drugstore chain operator CVS Health Corp. said on Sunday it had agreed to acquire U.S. health insurer Aetna for $69 billion, seeking to tackle soaring healthcare spending through lower-cost medical services in pharmacies. This year's largest corporate acquisition will combine one of the nation's largest pharmacy benefits managers and pharmacy operators with one of the oldest health insurers, whose national business ranges from employer health care to government plans. The deal comes after Aetna's $37 billion plan to acquire smaller U.S. health insurer Peer Humana was blocked in January by a U.S. federal judge over antitrust concerns. Aetna shareholders stand to receive $207 per share in the deal with CVS. The consideration comprises $145 per share in cash and approximately 4.2 shares of CVS for every 5 shares of Aetna. Aetna shareholders will own about 22% of the combined company, while CVS shareholders will own the remainder. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following the news this week that recording artist and industry magnate Bob Dylan would be laying off 2,000 workers from his Muscatine, Iowa songwriting factory in an effort to streamline his music-making operations, The Onion spoke with veteran factory worker Travis Felton, who received a pink slip earlier today.
I've been working on the lyric assembly line for 25 years now. Punch in each and every morning, make sure the words are complex and poetic. And yesterday, the foreman calls me into his office to tell me that the company is reducing headcount. They're giving the whole rhyming section the boot. What Mr. Dillon and the other suits don't understand is that here in Muscatine, songwriting is all we have. And we've been doing the best damn Dylan songs in the world for over 50 years, and now they're trying to take that away from us. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Well, I guess I could see if they're hiring over at the Tom Petty factory in Hurstville. Lord knows I hoped it'd never come to that.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us right here. Toll free, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype on into the show here at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Melanie.
For those of you just tuning in, we, in the last hour, spent most of the hour talking about a story that you have from Dr. Robert Epstein, who's a psychologist, I believe.
Yes.
That has made a piece, or this is kind of like, I don't know if it's his life's work, but I've heard the name before, and he's talking about adolescence and the idea that it is a social construct, something that has been placed upon people, young people, by the government and by society in general, that ultimately a lot of the rules that have been created around, being young and not being able to work, for instance, are things that are stunting their potential for growth, stunting their potential for being able to create wealth and independence for themselves.
And then just keeping kind of young adults basically in prisons, whether they have a nice prisoner who wishes they were free, or whether they have a prison guard, or whether they have, kind of a not so nice prison guard. They're, I guess, whether the parents are doing it or whether the state is kind of making the parents do it, they're basically a prisoner. I mean, like he said, you have twice as many restrictions as an imprisoned felon.
In a government school.
Well, as a young adult.
Okay.
Under
Oh,
18.
just in general.
Yeah.
I see. Meaning that you can smoke cigarettes in prison, but you can't as a teenager. That kind of thing? Is that what he's talking about?
I mean, I don't know if that's the best,
Not the best example.
but yeah.
Okay.
Of things that you can't do.
All right. Tell me more.
So then he's kind of responding here to people who say that, the teenage brain is immature or something's wrong with it or whatever.
Yep, they'll say that.
He says, are young people really inherently incompetent and irresponsible? The research I conducted with my colleague, Diane Dumas, suggests that teenagers are as competent as adults across a wide range of adult abilities, and other research has long shown that they are actually superior to adults on tests of memory, intelligence, and perception. The assertion that teenagers have an immature brain that necessarily causes turmoil is completely invalidated when we look at the anthropological research from around the world. Anthropologists have identified more than 100 contemporary societies in which teenage turmoil is completely absent.
Really?
Most of these societies don't even have terms for adolescence. Even more compelling, long-term anthropological studies initiated at Harvard in the 1980s show that teenage turmoil begins to appear in societies within a few years after these societies adopt Western schooling practices and are exposed to Western media.
Oh, okay.
Finally, a wealth of data shows that when young people are given meaningful responsibility and meaningful contact with adults, they quickly rise to the challenge and their, quote, inner adult emerges.
Starts to come out. That makes sense, and that goes back to one of the things I was saying in the last hour. These young people are people too. It's just that they've been childized basically by society, placing all these rules and restrictions on them. If you want to work, or if you could work, if you had the opportunity to work, you would be more mature sooner rather than later. You instead have teenagers at 14, 15, 16 who really have nothing else to do. I mean, they could be being productive at a job or, starting their own business, but instead they're not allowed to. So idle hands do the devil's work, right? They go around destroying. If you're a teenage boy, for instance, you go around destroying property or, causing all kinds of trouble because you've got nothing else to do.
So basically what this is saying, that if you take adults and treat them like prisoners or treat them worse than prisoners, then they tend to, be mean to you.
Right.
It's like, whoa, what did you expect? What did you think was going to happen? Like, if you just take somebody and abuse the hell out of them, they're just going to be like the most nice person ever to you. Like, what are your expectations here?
Well, and no one should be surprised that these circumstances that are artificial and have been placed upon these teens have created changes to their brains or their brain chemistry. That's not a surprise at all, at least not to me.
Well, I don't know that there are changes to their brain chemistry. I don't think there's any evidence of that. I don't think he gets into that in this article. But, because he was saying on the interview that he gave that there's really no difference. It's just how anybody would respond to that environment. And that a lot of the time we do try to medicate that out of people. Like, people are, get an attitude like, well, because you're expecting them to act like an adult, but treating them like a child, and they have no rights, and they're essentially property legally. So, what kind of behavior do you expect? This is completely in line with the environment that you're creating.
Well, one of the sick things, you mentioned property, is that there are actually people within the libertarian movement who think of their children, no matter what their age, as their property. They actually believe that.
Yeah, and use those words. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. I find that to be incredibly disturbing because those are people who should understand more than anyone about individuality and, freedom, but yet within their own household, they essentially are authoritarians.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you're, because they talk about puberty here, but I'm not saying that your 11-year-old is an adult, because they're probably not, but your 16-year-old, they're an adult.
Depends. I mean, it depends on the individual. I mean, there's probably some 20-year-olds that don't act very adult out there.
I mean, there's probably people who just don't act well, but they're capable of acting like an adult, and I don't know that we can say that they're not until we actually allow them to. I mean, what incentive do you have to act any kind of way if just, you're completely dependent on somebody else's life? They can decide tomorrow, we're moving across the country or to a different country, and guess what? You're moving to France now. So.
All right, tell me more.
You can't even drive. So then he says, a careful look at these issues yields startling conclusions. The social, emotional turmoil experienced by many young people in the United States is entirely a creation of modern culture. We produce such turmoil by infantilizing our young and isolating them from adults. Modern schooling and restrictions on youth labor are remnants of the Industrial Revolution that are no longer appropriate for today's world. The exploitive factories are long gone, and we have the ability now to provide mass education on an individual basis. Teenagers are inherently highly capable young adults. To undo the damage we have done, we need to establish competency-based systems that give these young people opportunities and incentives to join the adult world as rapidly as possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the direction things are going. Instead, you see news headlines about parents who are being arrested for allowing their 10-year-old to walk home from school, or allowing their 10-year-old to accompany their 6-year-old home from school. I mean, I remember when the first time I was able to come home alone from school after, getting off the school bus, walking home, my parents gave me my first set of keys. I think I was 7 years old. And today they could probably get arrested for that.
Yeah, a lot of states now have age limits as to when you can leave them home alone, even regardless of walking there, but just already in the house. And a lot of them, it's like 10. Some of them have no limit. Some of them have, there's no limit, but if we decide retroactively that they were too young, you're in trouble. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of geared towards having people. And the state's not going to go and oppress every young person 24/7. They'll do it 8 hours a day. They're not going to do it 24 hours a day. So they kind of want to make sure somebody else does that for them.
Wow. I had not even heard that there was a minimum age to stay home alone. That's a new one.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
If you want to share your experience here, whether it was as a teenager growing up and what you encountered, or as a parent today and what you're encountering out there, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from other parents? How widespread is the belief that young people should be kept childlike for as long as possible? It seems to be very popular. I mean, if you just go by the news headlines, is there a lot of outrage about when these children are arrested for walking home from school, or not the children, but the parents of the children arrested for that? Is there a lot of outrage for that, or is it just within our little clique of freedom people? And as I said, even within the freedom people, the liberty movement, there's a disturbing amount of people who believe that their kids are their property. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment walking down the street to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and you can Skype into the show at Skype username lrn.fm. With you here tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Well, join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private, and easy. Fees are low, transactions are quick, and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why as we go to your calls and thoughts. Whatever's on your mind goes. Let's talk to Micah in Montana. You're on Free Talk Live on via Skype. Go ahead, Micah.
Hey, guys. I listened to the show on the podcast, so I haven't been paying attention to what you were talking about tonight, except for the last little bit.
Sure.
I did grow up out in the middle of nowhere, and we were home educated, so we were pretty free-range kids back in the 80s. But I was calling about Melanie's conversation last week. I really appreciated her taken the position that you guys take on the cop issue. And I just had a thought. The way I explain it to people,
well, Melanie's position is not my position. Just to be clear.
So that is two different positions.
That's true. That's true. And I think I agree with both of you. I agree that violence isn't going to solve the issue, and people shouldn't go out there and just shoot cops for no reason. But I think the way to explain it to people is that individuals need to be protected when they exercise their rights, no matter who is violating them, if that person has a special costume on or not. And the thing I try to tell people is that if you're on a jury and someone is up for murder because they defended themselves against a police officer, I don't have any problem with them, voting that person not guilty. And I think it kind of puts it in the perspective of.
Hold on, before you go on, I agree with you in that case. If they're defending themselves against the attack of a police officer, I agree that somebody should vote not guilty in that case. So, like, a great example of this would be. There have been many of these examples where somebody is having their home raided and they shoot at the intruders, and it turns out the intruders are the police. They end up getting charged, even though in any other circumstance they would have been seen as defending themselves against home invaders. Because it's the police, they end up getting charged criminally. So I totally agree, not guilty should happen in that circumstance. Are you saying, I just want to clarify what you're saying here, you're not saying that somebody who walks up on the street to a cop sitting in his cruiser on the side of the road and then puts a bullet in the cop's head, you're not saying that person should be found not guilty, are you?
No, I don't. I think that's in a real gray area, because I think a better example would be if someone was pulled over and they were being kidnapped because they had a plant in their car.
Okay.
But I agree with you, Ian, that the violence isn't going to violence only begets more violence.
Sure.
But I also think Melanie has a good point that until people start standing up, nothing's going to really change. But at the same time, right now is not the time just to go toe to toe.
Well, right. And so there's kind of two different issues that I think you're conflating. So something can be a bad idea and not be a NAP violation. And
NAP being the non-aggression principle.
And then something can be a NAP violation and not be moral.
That's
so
true.
Yes.
Shooting cops and shooting heroin are both really bad ideas, and kind of for the same reason, bad things will happen to you if you do it, and neither one accomplishes anything. Neither one is a NAP violation in my view, and heroin in most cases I don't know is particularly moral. Shooting cops, I wouldn't say it's immoral. I would say it's a really bad plan, and it's just not the time for that. So I'm not sure where your position on any of that is, but
I agree with that, and I think the best place to start is to be educating people when they go into jury situations to allow people to defend themselves and to be backed up by the broader society of saying, hey, you were aggressed against, and this person, whether or not they had a certain costume on or not, you defended yourself, and you should feel empowered to defend yourself. And that gets back to the point I think that you both make, is that until there's a societal change at an individual level, enough individuals start changing the way that they look at the system, then you have a peaceful revolution, so to speak. If the police officers that were aggressing against people on a daily basis understood that they could, basically get taken out, and the jury is not going to convict that person of murder, you wouldn't have to change the laws. Those individual
they would change their behavior.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to go that far. If we got to the point where we educated enough people to where this was viable, which we are nowhere near, and cops just understood, like, if I aggress against somebody, like, that's it, like, I'm out. It doesn't matter if your killer gets convicted or not, like, you're still dead. They'd quit showing up to work.
Yes. And my biggest point was just if you can put a controversial subject into an individual situation where there's a jury and are you going as an individual to convict this person for defending themselves or not? Another way to put it is kind of take it into the realm of foreign policy, where, I ask people sometimes, do you believe that, people in the Middle East have a right to fight back against armed occupants in their country? And it kind of disarms people because they haven't thought about it that way. If you just take it to the point of like, oh, well, I think, people should be able to, shoot cops, even though it's not a good idea, this or that, it kind of puts people in a defensive position. But if you put it into a different scenario, most libertarians I know of would say, yeah, I wouldn't convict a person if they stood their ground, if they were getting pulled over for no reason, and even speeding and stuff like that, victimless crimes. At a certain point, society has to get to a point where they empower people to stand up for their rights, no matter who is aggressing against them.
I agree with you there. I think that if we want to get to that point, though, we've got to get libertarians to move to one place. I mean, because we just don't have enough people, even within the liberty movement, who, can agree on these things. So if we can get a large group of people here, then maybe we can actually influence society in the way that we're talking about, and in other ways as well, like we were talking about with child labor laws and things like that. If we have a groundswell of support of numbers, raw numbers of people who care about freedom in the same geographic area, then I think that would make all the difference in accelerating these things. Otherwise, it seems hopeless because society seems to be moving in the opposite direction from what we want it to.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. I think the Free State Project and what you guys are doing there in New Hampshire is fantastic. And it's just a great thing, and I think that's the best way to bring about peaceful revolution.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. I mean, that's all it is, numbers. And if we concentrate our numbers in one place, then we actually have the numbers to actually win and to get people elected, to roll back the state's involvement in our lives. Micah, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. If you want to learn more about the migration to New Hampshire, a great documentary film is 101reasonsfilm.com. Go and check it out there. You can watch it for free, and we'll continue with more Free Talk Live coming up.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com. Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whatever is on your mind goes here. Coming up, an insane story out of a courthouse in Michigan where a man was choked, not to death, but to the point of defecation by court officers. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Melanie knows a thing or two about taxes. It's not quite time yet to file your taxes if you're an individual or business. But if you are a business, you got to prepare this month for the end of the year. Is it too late, Melanie, for people to contact you if they're in business, or can they sneak in here at the last minute?
No, I still have some time. You have till the 31st to actually do whatever you're going to need to do.
Right, but they need to consult with you first.
I'm going to need some time to figure out what you need to do. So
what's the Melanie deadline? When do people need to get into, if they've got a business and they need help with taxes from a real anarchist, somebody who hates the state and will do everything that you possibly can to minimize your tax burden for your business and for your personal taxes as well. But if you've got the business, when do they need to get in touch with you by? What's the latest?
That kind of depends on how complicated their stuff is and how much I have to go through. I'd say maybe a week on average.
So like the end of this week, basically?
No, it's the 4th.
Okay.
Today's the 4th.
Right. You said a week on average.
No, so like a week from the end of the year. Oh, that's how long it would take you?
Oh, yeah. A week from the end. Okay, so of course that's Christmas season, right? A week before the end of the year is Christmas, basically.
Yeah, that might matter to you. I mean, it's money, whatever.
You're willing to work. So you're willing to work through the holidays for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't think we're gonna really have anything going on. I mean, we don't have kids yet.
Well, that's good news for procrastinators out there. So if you've been waiting and you're still kind of not sure, well, you got to get this done, and you got to get it done by, let's say, no later than Christmas. Basically, you got to call or email, contact Melanie.
And it depends. Like if you have a lot of stuff to go through, then it's more than that.
So then, like, if you got a lot of stuff, then mid-month, would you say?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, the sooner the better, obviously.
Right. So don't drag your feet here. If you want to make a difference on your taxes for next year and hire a professional who also is a really liberty-minded person, because you won't find many of those in the accounting field. There's a good chance that whoever your accountant is right now actually loves the state. I mean, the state's their bread and butter. The state and all of its tax rules are the way they make their money, and they probably want to see more rules rather than fewer. So if you want to bring Melanie on board, and again, not just for business people, but for individuals, if you're an individual, you can wait until next year.
As long as you don't have any complicated investments or something like that, then you don't need to see me until after the 1st. If you do, you might want to if you're thinking of moving something or not moving something or something like that.
How do you do your consultations? Is it all over the phone? Do you do Skype? What are the ways that people can...
Well, I have a lot of kind of out-of-state people right now, so they're not flying in to see me, so they're over the phone. I'm going to need, if I'm filing anything for you, we're going to need to do at least one Skype or FaceTime or something like that so that I can match you to your ID if I don't know who you are.
That makes sense.
Outside of that, phone, email, however you want to do it.
Perfect. And you can get in touch with Melanie over on her website. Tax.freetalklive.com will take you right to it. Some people have been having trouble with our domain forwards recently. So in case you can't get to tax.freetalklive.com, we're still working on fixing that. Apologies for the delay. You can go straight to her website, which is a little longer. It's bookkeeping-and-taxes.com. That's bookkeeping-and-taxes.com. So reach out to Melanie. She will help you keep more of what you've earned. All right, so our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's get into some court-related news here. The story coming out of, HuffingtonPost.com. A Michigan man who attempted to protest a $10 traffic fine by paying it with pennies is seeking damages after court officers allegedly responded by beating him and choking him to the point of defecation. Anthony Seavey decided to pay his bill with cash after receiving a $10 parking ticket in Royal Oak in February and learning the city would charge him an additional $1.75 if he used a credit card to do it. Seavey brought $10 in rolled up pennies to the district
courthouse. So it wasn't even like a pile of pennies.
Yeah, it wasn't even loose. Rolled pennies.
I mean, that's not even much
rolls.
of a protest.
Right.
That's just a regular type of currency.
Yeah, that is not a protest. But nonetheless, according to his attorney, Jonathan Marco, the clerk wasn't too happy about that. They refused to allow him to pay with penny rolls, Marco told Detroit TV station WJBK. Now, one of the purported reasons for this, I don't know if they gave this reason, but we've seen enough stories about people paying with change. One of the purported reasons is that the bureaucrats don't want to have to count the pennies, number one, but number two, they claim they don't know what's in the rolls. So they have to open the rolls and ultimately count the pennies that are inside.
No other business does that. Or I guess no business does that because this isn't a business.
Because businesses are interested in satisfying their customers.
I mean, at McDonald's and stuff, people would give us, it didn't happen so much at Walmart because people had bigger bills, but at McDonald's and stuff, people would pay in rolls all the time. And we had a machine over on the end of the counter and you just drop it on and to make sure they didn't pull one out or,
so you were weighing it? You were weighing the rolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one way that you can handle it. Because generally change has a certain weight to it, and the paper on the outside is probably pretty negligible in the ultimate.
Yeah, or whatever. Or even if it has a weight, then they all probably weigh the same. Mm-hmm. I don't know how the machine was calibrated or whatever, but I mean there are ways to do this, or even if you're just gonna turn it down, but there are ways to accept. It's not like
this is legal.
It's not like what Samsung did. He didn't come in with just a pile of pennies. I mean, this is a generally accepted currency.
This is a legal tender. The government says that you have to accept it, and that should include their own government offices.
I'm kind of under the understanding that has been repealed.
Legal tender?
I don't know that you have the rules about having to take cash. I don't know that that's the case. That's what I've heard. I haven't really
I guess you could argue that the coins don't actually say legal tender on them while the dollars do.
It's still U.S. currency.
The clerk wasn't too happy about it, and they refused to allow him to pay the bill. As he was leaving the courthouse, Seavey got into a verbal exchange with court officers Philip Barak and Harold Marshall. The officers reportedly then put Seavey in a chokehold and took him to the ground. And there is video here on the story. We'll post the link to our Facebook and Twitter. You can take a look at it. The experience was so shocking that it caused Mr. Seavey to defecate, according to the lawsuit filing. After the alleged altercation, Seavey was handcuffed, taken to a holding cell, and released 24 hours later. He was later charged with assaulting or obstructing a police officer and disturbing the peace. He pleaded no contest to disturbing the peace, and the assault charge was, surprise, surprise, later dropped. According to the Detroit News, Marco told Huffington Post his client suffered head trauma, fright, and shock from the experience, as well as embarrassment from the public defecation. Quote, they booked him for a 2-year felony. That a guy can get assaulted at a place set up to protect constitutional rights, well,
And in what way is a courthouse designed to protect constitutional
Come on,
rights?
Mr. Attorney, you know better than that, right?
Well, I mean, he probably does. He just said, because I can't go in the court and be like, "Hello, Your Honor, taxation is theft." Right. That's not gonna get me anywhere.
Well,
so you have to say whatever.
Yeah, well, and he's making this statement for the media and for the general audience that's watching. He says it's scary and terrifying. He says, I believe he may have full-blown PTSD. CV is suing now for an undisclosed amount, and Marco believes this case has huge civil rights implications. The officer's actions violate the First Amendment, which protects freedom of expression and peaceful protest. This wasn't a dump truck of pennies. It was approximately 20 rolls of pennies, all neatly rolled. Marco admits that CV's method of paying his parking ticket probably annoyed whoever had to handle the money, but it is legal tender and didn't justify the abuse.
I've never been at a job where if I was annoyed, I could just arrest the customer.
Attack them? Choke them?
Or attack them either.
Yeah. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. The court bureaucrats claim that there is no lawsuit officially that has been filed as of now. So if you know more, you want to share it with us, you're welcome to join us here. This is Free Talk Live. Coming up, Vermin Supreme.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
A report confirms that many Iraqis are still holding a petty grudge about the U.S. invasion. An advanced alien civilization discovers an uninhabitable planet, and a single woman has a Facebook profile picture with her sister. This is the Onion Week in Review. A groundbreaking study published Monday in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that it is impossible to lose weight. No one has ever done it, and those who are trying should give up immediately. Researchers said that findings conclusively prove that shedding excess weight has never happened, changing your physical appearance is impossible, and that all sorts of exercises, personal training regimens, and diets will never, ever work.
Well, our test results conclusively prove that if you're going to the gym to lose weight, you will fail. You could work out every day and eat nothing, and you still wouldn't lose an ounce. Skinny people will stay skinny. Overweight people will be overweight. That's just how it is.
In other news, an area man is outraged his private information is being collected by someone other than advertisers. And a crowd cheers as this 93-year-old fuck-up finally graduates from college.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is lrn.fm. Joining you here tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
An interesting story came across my radar a couple of days ago, and I was hoping I could beat the rest of the press to the punch, but the Concord Monitor beat me to it because it took me an extra day to get it done. But I was second with the story on Vermin Supreme suing the city of Concord over denying him his right to free speech. Now, longtime listeners of the show, you know the name Vermin Supreme, but maybe there are people out there that don't know the longtime presidential contender who has run for president with both a Republican and Democrat parties. He also this year attempted to throw his name into the ring for the Libertarian Party, or not this year, but last year in 2016, attempted to throw his name into the ring for the Libertarian Party nomination. Ultimately, he was available on the Democrat primary ballot here in New Hampshire. In the primary, nation's first primary, he won fourth place in that particular primary battle, which was pretty good in my opinion, given the relatively small amount of publicity that he receives. For those who may have seen him before but don't remember the name, he's the guy who wears the boot on his head. That's who Vermin Supreme is. So if you've seen him, you remember him, because there aren't many people who wear boots on their head. He's got kind of a big beard, big white or gray colored beard, and just always is wearing ridiculous kind of outfits. He's got like 50 ties that he's wearing, and he promises things like free ponies to people and mandatory teeth brushing laws, and he's got all kinds of just ridiculous...
I think free ponies would be a lot cheaper than a lot of the other programs that get seriously proposed.
Yeah, so he's doing this as satire, as pointed out here in the lawsuit that he's filed against the city of Concord. Quote, part of Mr. Supreme's long-standing campaign platform is centered on socialized distribution of equine companions, which some have interpreted as commentary, satire, and political parody about a political system that rewards candidates who promise free benefits without discussing cost or practicality. And so what happened was Vermin Supreme wanted to go tomorrow, is when this was supposed to happen, and may still happen. But tomorrow, Tuesday, December 5th, Hillary Clinton is apparently on a book tour. So apparently she's already hammered out a book called What Happened, and apparently it's about the 2016 election. So she's capitalizing on her loss and now is trying to make money.
I'm not sure which of these two people are more ridiculous.
Hillary Clinton or Vermin Supreme?
Yeah, and at least in this particular instance.
So Clinton has a book. She's going on a book tour, a book signing tour. She's going to be showing up at a bookstore in Concord, New Hampshire tomorrow at about 1 o'clock. In the afternoon, and doing a book signing. Now, Vermin Supreme wanted to come to that location, not inside the bookstore. Obviously, it's private property, and they probably would not want to let him in, but to be on, let's say, the sidewalk or nearby on public property outside of the bookstore, where, of course, if you're on public property, you should have a right to engage in freedom of speech, and the freedom to protest is part of the right to free speech. The freedom of assembly, all these things, First Amendment, supposedly protected rights in the U.S. Constitution. The New Hampshire Constitution also has similar protections as well on freedom of speech. And so the 13-page lawsuit that has been filed now in federal district court in Concord, New Hampshire, against the city of Concord and several of its city bureaucrats is making it clear that Vermin Supreme's rights were violated. Now, what he did was he went through one of his agents, he had one of his people, because he has people, who contacted the city of Concord on his behalf and asked about, whether a permit would be, whether they could get a permit for this protest. Now, I don't think that you should ever ask for permission to engage in a right. Okay, when you do that, you're converting your right into a privilege. When you ask some bureaucrat to give you a piece of paper saying you can engage in your right, you've just turned that into a privilege, meaning you have to ask permission. If it's a right, you don't have to ask permission. So while I wouldn't have gone about it this way, maybe Vermin Supreme knew that there was a chance they were going to deny him the permit and wanted to be able to file this lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing this long enough. I feel like he probably knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Then that also kind of doesn't give them the opportunity to say, oh, well, we let everybody do this. We just require a permit. That way 5 people don't show up on the same square sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because when we went to Portsmouth a little over a year ago for one of the secession protests, we went to, and I thought that
You and your husband or fiance?
Well, no, a group of people.
Oh,
Me,
okay.
Rich, Derek, Dave Ridley,
We don't
and
need the
a
whole
couple
list.
other people. But so we were originally going to go on the plaza of the post office,
Mm-hmm.
which is also public property.
Sure.
And the post office sent out, apparently they have their own cops.
Yep.
To tell us
Postal inspectors.
to tell us, this guy had U.S. Post Office. He had a gun.
Yeah, sure.
To tell us asked us, did we have a permit? And we were like,
Don't need
no.
one.
And it was Sunday, so the post office was closed. It's not like we were in the way of anyone.
Huh.
Even if they were open, that was this big, huge, we were way away from the door. He asked us, did we have a permit? And we were like, no, we don't need one. He's like, well, you do. If you want to stand on the sidewalk, that's between you and Portsmouth, but you can't be here. It's so most people then just went to the sidewalk, which we were trying not to be in the way, right? But it was a big enough sidewalk people could get through. But yeah, so had we apparently got a permit, they would have had to tell us yes or else justify it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they would justify you can't stand in front of the post office on Sunday when it's closed because
That's crazy. I've never had that happen. I mean, we've had protests out in front of the post office here.
I wish I would have filmed. They're not staffed though when they're closed here.
Okay.
I wish I would have filmed it because I got him to admit that the post office was a federal agency. I wish I had that on film.
Yeah, it's always good to record bureaucrats, especially when they're coming up to threaten you. Now, more from the story here, which, by the way, I posted over at freekeen.com. So if you want to check out the details, including the full 13-page lawsuit filed by Vermin Supreme's attorneys, I've linked that in the post over at freekeen.com. So anyway, he asked the government bureaucrats about the permits and was told that by one bureaucrat that normally he would be given permission to have. Oh, by the way, he wanted to bring ponies. This is an important aspect.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
to the
a little
case.
bit different.
Why?
Well, because if you're just having a bunch of horses, that.
He wanted to bring 2 ponies because, again, that's his campaign platform. It's a big part of his message is socialized ponies.
Yeah, he planned this lawsuit because they're that.
You think so?
Yes, that's my opinion. But yeah, 'cause now saying that you have to accommodate horses is a little bit different than just I'm going to stand outside and say things.
Well, either way, the bureaucrat, they claim in the lawsuit, the bureaucrat admitted that normally they would grant the permit, that there was no special permit necessary to have ponies necessarily. There's no prohibition against having a pony in the street with you in the city of Concord. Because in theory, you should be able to ride a horse around if you want to. Sometimes you see people doing that. Not in Concord, but just in New Hampshire, you'll see that sometimes. And so he said there were no general restrictions on having ponies outdoors at that location, and that ordinarily he would grant the permit to have the ponies at that location, But the bureaucrat admitted that the Concord police had directed him to not grant the permit for the ponies on that day and at that location, specifically because no one in the city government wants to interfere with Clinton's book signing. Now, if that's true, that actually was said...
I'm not even faulting them for that, really.
Why? You think the...
Because it's Clinton and I don't want to die.
Hold on, what are you talking about? You don't want to die. What?
Because, if I was them.
You mean you're suggesting the bureaucrats would
I would be afraid
killed?
to do that. I'm not even, I'm not saying they're right, but I'm not necessarily faulting. I'm not holding this one against them.
You're saying the bureaucrats themselves were worried about retaliation.
I don't know what's in their head, but that's what I would be worried about.
Well, they are, they backed themselves into a fully suable corner, it seems to me, especially if what Supreme is saying is true here, Vermin Supreme saying, and that this bureaucrat actually admitted that they would have normally granted the permit, but because it's Hillary Clinton, they're not going to do it. Do you think this suit has some legs? Do you think that they might actually be able to win this?
Maybe.
Let's get Melanie's professional opinion here. She went to law school, so she knows a thing or two about how this stuff
Ponies
works.
and Vermin Supreme and Hillary Clinton. Yeah, sure.
There's more coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live, Hour 3 next.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, December 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,273 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $11,119. Antiwar.com reports the Kurdish YPG forces have announced substantial gains in eastern Syria's Deir ez-Zor province, taking new territory along the Iraqi border and east of the Euphrates River away from the Islamic State. The territory captured was some of the very little remaining to the Islamic State in the Deir ez-Zor province and territory of limited value. It was noteworthy, however, in that both the U.S. and Russian forces backed the offensive. That's a change, as while previously the Russians have supported the YPG in limited engagement, during the Deir ez-Zor offensive, the U.S. has been supporting YPG exclusively while the Russians supported the Syrian government, sort of a rush to seize as much the Islamic State territory as possible. In addition to the support of the U.S. and Russia, the Kurds claimed the push was backed by Arab militias in the area. This comes amid Kurdish efforts to set up civil councils to rule their portion of the Deir ez-Zor province.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
UPI reports American officials told the United Nations it would be withdrawing from a global agreement on the Treaty of Refugees and Migrants because it is inconsistent with U.S. immigration policies. The U.S. mission to the United Nations made the notification Saturday, 2 days before the start of a global conference on migration in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The United States signed the non-binding New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants in 2016 under President Barack Obama. Member states signing the pact pledged to uphold the rights of refugees, assist in resettlement, and provide access to education and jobs. A statement from the U.S. mission said the New York Declaration contains numerous provisions that are inconsistent with U.S. immigration and refugee policies and Trump administration's immigration principles. As a result, President Trump determined that the United States would end its participation in the compact process that aims to reach international consensus at the UN in 2018. On Friday, Trump also decided the United States would not participate in the Mexico talks, a 3-day meeting on the New York Declaration, and discuss humane ways of dealing with millions of migrants. Unnamed diplomatic sources told Foreign Policy magazine that White House Chief of Staff John Kelly and Attorney General Jeff Sessions were in strong support of pulling out of the meeting. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley said in a statement on Saturday, "Our decision on immigration policies must always be made by Americans and Americans alone. We will decide how best to control our borders and who will be allowed to enter our country. The global approach in the New York Declaration is simply not compatible with U.S. sovereignty."
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports U.S. drugstore chain operator CVS Health Corp. said on Sunday it had agreed to acquire U.S. health insurer Aetna for $69 billion, seeking to tackle soaring healthcare spending through lower-cost medical services in pharmacies. This year's largest corporate acquisition will combine one of the nation's largest pharmacy benefits managers and pharmacy operators with one of the oldest health insurers, whose national business ranges from employer health care to government plans. The deal comes after Aetna's $37 billion plan to acquire smaller U.S. health insurer Peer Humana was blocked in January by a U.S. federal judge over antitrust concerns. Aetna shareholders stand to receive $207 per share in the deal with CVS. The consideration comprises $145 per share in cash and approximately 4.2 shares of CVS for every 5 shares of Aetna. Aetna shareholders will own about 22% of the combined company, while CVS shareholders will own the remainder. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Well, our own Rebecca Mera takes us on a tour of the Olympic Village.
We have a full-size bed, lounge area, showers, plenty of space, which is great because I'm constantly having sex in there.
The Village is a temporary home to the world's most physically impressive athletic men and women. It was important to the Olympic Committee to give them a comfortable, state-of-the-art area to each other's brains out while they're not competing.
We have a pool where they can have a sex, a theater where they can have a sex. All these athletes are hot, horny, ready to go. They deserve the best.
I was in Vancouver where I got eaten out by this French speed skater. I have to say, these facilities are even better, and I'm going to try to a Japanese guy.
You've spared no expense.
These athletes deserve the best. They sacrifice so much for their countries. They deserve to be able to until their and can't take it anymore.
And these facilities won't go to waste. Once the Olympics are over, they'll be converted to a resort where Russian businessmen can come to their prostitutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you can join us here toll free at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
So just for those of you just tuning in the last hour, we talked about Vermin Supreme. We haven't quite finished the discussion. And then we're going to take your calls. You can bring up whatever you want at 855-450, free like freedom. Vermin Supreme, the just perennial presidential contender who always brings fun and amusement to the political process, which is normally a pretty boring affair. Whenever Vermin Supreme's in the room, things are always interesting. He's got a great sense of humor. We've had the pleasure of having him here on Free Talk Live as a guest on a number of occasions. He's attended multiple events that the Libertarians have done here in New Hampshire. He actually lives fairly nearby, so it's convenient for him. He lives in Massachusetts. So it's convenient for him to come up here, which works because New Hampshire's the first primary in the nation, and so Vermin Supreme is always a kind of a mainstay, somebody that you see around a lot, especially during the presidential campaigning season. Of course, it's not that season now, so what is he up to? Well, suing the city of Concord, because the city of Concord denied him a permit to have a pony protest outside of the Hillary Clinton book signing event that's scheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Concord, New Hampshire, at some bookstore up there, Gibson's bookstore. And so Supreme was denied the permit by the city of Concord. The city bureaucrat actually admitted that on any other day or time, he'd have been allowed to have the ponies. But in this outside, that there wasn't even any specific restriction on having ponies outdoors in Concord, especially at that location. But the bureaucrat further admitted that it was the Concord police who directed him to not grant the permit for the ponies, specifically for that day, at that location, at that time, because nobody wanted to interfere with Clinton's book signing. And so now the city of Concord's got a lawsuit on their hands. They are, Vermin and his attorneys are looking for damages, attorneys' fees, and an injunction forcing the city to issue the permit and to basically admit that, you know, they done wrong in this particular case. They're also demanding a trial by jury. So, Melanie, you are going...
By tomorrow?
No, it's not going to happen by tomorrow. In fact, rumor has it...
for an injunction, the event's tomorrow, right?
It is. Maybe they were hoping for, like a, what's it called, ex parte hearing or something like that, where the judge could grant a preliminary injunction. I don't know.
Well, you can get a preliminary injunction if he hasn't had one by now. It doesn't look
probably
like
too
he's going to
late.
get one.
Well, that doesn't mean he's not going to be there tomorrow. There's still a good chance that Vermin Supreme is going to show up. And we'll tell you more about that as the situation develops. But, Melanie, you were going to give us your legal opinion as somebody who actually went to law school. Now, you did study criminal law, didn't you?
Right. So I wouldn't say I'm in any way...
You're more qualified than probably most people listening, though. Certainly more than me.
Than most people listening, probably. I'm assuming most people listening aren't trained
Civil
in
attorneys.
law at all.
Yeah.
But... I don't know. I'm always careful not to kind of like oversell that when I'm out of my like field. Like I know a little bit about this, but that doesn't mean I don't know just enough to like mess it up.
I see. Do you think he's got a leg to stand on here with this suit?
I think he probably has a pretty decent case. I do think though that they have a couple of things that they could argue. Just because the city clerk said that it was for one reason or another, the city's not stuck with that. Because basically the city clerk is not required to be a legal expert.
Well, plus unless Vermin Supreme was recording the call, it's his claim. It's just a claim. We don't know if it was true.
So even if they could prove she said that, she's not bound to be any kind of legal expert. So, they could just say, well, we didn't tell her why it was. That's why she thought it was. She didn't understand. We just kind of gave him the general, this isn't happening. And like, they're not bound by those arguments. So, I mean, they could say it's a security thing, although that would kind of be more of the purview of the federal government, unless the feds are ordering them to do this, which they didn't say. I don't know if they are or not.
Could be.
They could say that they only have one event kind of going on at the time. So even if like a city is required to issue you a permit for your event, they can still say we're not having 7 events at the same time. So if there's the Westboro Baptist Church came to Keene for some reason and they were like, we're having a parade, Keene has to give them that permit. If you then say, well, I'm having my, pro-gay parade, and you went down to file, we're having a parade of inclusion or whatever, they have to give you that too, but they can tell you that they're not going to do it on the same day, or they're not going to do it at like the same time in the same place, because they don't want to have, A, you don't really necessarily want people fighting in the streets, so you might want to separate that, and B, okay, well, we have X amount of space, it's already taken up, kind of first come, first serve, so you can have tomorrow or whatever. We don't want 2 parades on the same day because it's too much traffic.
See, this is a problem with permitting, is that it takes away, as I was saying before, if you ask permission for something, you're not exercising your rights. What my experience has been with, and I've never asked for a permit to do anything as far as protest, as far as event in a public park or whatever. We used to actually throw what we called Free Keene Fest. So before there was Keenvention, which was an actual weekend-long convention that we did for a few years here in Keene, there was Free Keene Fest, and it would happen. Some years it was once a year. Early on it was twice a year. We had like a spring and a fall thing. And what we would do was just go down to Railroad Square, which is one of the parks in downtown Keene, right in the heart of downtown, basically. And we would just set up without a permit. We would put up tents, like canopy tents, and people would sell food or whatever their wares were that they wanted to sell. Nobody asked for a permit to do anything. We had open gambling. We had a table with cash gambling going on. There was amplified music without, a permit. We just went there and we did it. And there was one year early on when they actually did come up and ticket me and Toby Islin, who they perceived to be as the primary organizers of the event, and ultimately they ended up dropping those charges. I forget at this time what the supposed violation was called. I'd have to dig into the archives at freekeene.com to see if I could even find that information. But they didn't have a leg to stand on, because if you have a right to assemble on public property, that means you don't have to ask permission. Now, when you ask the question, well, what if somebody else had a permit? So, like, what if on one day, some society of friends or whatever came there and they had a permit to have an event with tents and things like that on it? Well, they're obviously already there, so, you could, in theory, still set up if there was room for you to set up in that public place. You don't need to also have a permit or to say to yourself, oh, I can't be here because these other people have a permit. Now, it's not a nice thing to do, and you probably shouldn't do that because it's not neighborly to try to kind of crash somebody else's event in that way. But if it's public property, you should be able to occupy that whatever space you want to.
Well, right, yeah. So, NAP-wise,
the non-aggression principle.
You can just kind of come in. I guess that's like temporary homesteading. I got there. I'm using this, and so it's in some way mine. The use of it is mine until I stop using it. But
the city's strongest argument that they made for permitting is that if you want to access the city's power, because at like certain parks, like the Central Square, for instance, which actually technically isn't a park, it's a common. There's a difference. Legally, the commons, for instance, never close in New England, but parks can have hours. Anyway, at the common, there's a bandstand, and that has power panels, but they're locked. So if you have a permit, then they will come and if you've paid the city, because you have to pay for the power access, then they'll come during the times you have the permit, they'll unlock the panel. That makes sense, kind of. Of course, you could also argue that, the city shouldn't be able to charge you for power because, we've already paid taxes, so on and so forth. But otherwise, there's really... It's always sad to me when people ask permission to exercise their rights. Although that said, as you pointed out, Vermin Supreme seem to be prepared for this lawsuit.
That's what this looks like to me.
Yeah, there's more coming up here. You join us, Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. That is a way for you to get in touch with us here, where you can bring up anything that you want. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts, and then still to come here, We were talking about the right to protest and courtrooms, and there's actually another interesting case regarding your right to record the police. And we'll tell you about that coming up here. One man was given a $275,000 award from the Manchester, New Hampshire police in Manchester City because they arrested him for recording police in his own home. Turns out that's legal. We'll tell you more about it coming up here in moments. 855-450 free like freedom. But I also want to let you know about a great gift idea for the holiday season because everybody loves to eat. It is Omaha Steaks. You go to omahasteaks.com and you can use code FTL in the search bar. You'll get 75% off the family gift pack. And I will tell you here in moments what is in that. $49.99 is the price, and you get a load of food. I'll tell you here in a moment. But Omaha Steaks has been great here. We've got them in the freezer at the Free Talk Live studio, and my roommate Matt has actually been cooking up some of the we had some of the pork as well as the chicken. They give you this huge variety, and it's just it's delicious. It stores well. In fact, it comes to you in a basically a cooler, a styrofoam cooler loaded up with dry ice. It is cold when it gets to your house, and then you pop it in your freezer and take it out whenever you want to make it and make it however you want. Of course, it is the most flavorful tender aged beef, aged for 21 days to unlock the full flavors of the cuts. They're hand trimmed and then vacuum sealed. Plus, you can get all kinds of variety, including seafood, poultry, pork, veal, lamb, veggies, desserts, appetizers, pasta, soup, seasonings, sauces, and more. There's over 500 gourmet gift ideas over at omahasteaks.com. But remember, use code FTL in the search bar. That gets us the credit for sending them the business. And right now, Omaha Steaks is giving savings to Free Talk Live listeners. You can listen to everything here that you'll get for less than $50 in the family gift pack. 2 filet mignons, 2 top sirloins, 2 boneless pork chops, 4 boneless chicken breasts, 4 kielbasa sausages, 4 burgers, 4 potatoes au gratin, 4 caramel apple tartlets, 1 Omaha Steak seasoning packet, and they'll throw in 4 additional kielbasa sausages as well. You go to omahasteaks.com, use code FTL in the search bar. That gets you the 75% off the family gift pack, which is a great starter into the Omaha Steaks experience. Once again, that's omahasteaks.com with code FTL like Free Talk Live. It's guaranteed to be a hit as a gift this holiday season. And why bother with, the malls and the shopping when you can just get it all done at omahasteaks.com with code FTL like Free Talk Live. All right, let's go to Ralph in New Jersey. You can call in about anything you want. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live.
The subject matter I want to talk about.
You're going to talk about something new tonight, right? Not something about how black people are terrible.
About race, about black people is dead, black criminality.
That is what your topic is?
Which is black criminality and
That's
how it
always
is
your
driving. It is driving. No, it's not. It's driving black, animal, and wild. Okay, and the latest episode
It's always the same, Ralph. I'm done with it. Thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. It's boring to hear the same topic over and over again. So if you keep calling with that topic, Ralph, and I know you probably don't even listen to the show, but if you keep calling with the same exact topic, we'll just ban you from the air. All right? And I'll tell you that one more time, and then that'll be it. 855-450-FREE like freedom, because, we're doing a radio show, and the same, if you want to call about racism, okay, fine. We'll talk about racism. We're against it. We're in favor of looking at the individual rather than groups, and it's the individual and their thoughts and their actions that matter. That's what matters. So happy to talk about racism, but not every single call with the same exact points every single time. 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can join us here on Free Talk Live. So one of the other interesting stories posted at freekeen.com, a story that I've been following for a while now, a number of years. Of course, that's how long these things take to make it through the court system. A man named Alfredo Valentin was arrested a few years back inside his own home for recording the Manchester Police Department on his phone in his house while they were raiding his home. And the reason they were raiding his house is I think he had a tenant or maybe a family member, Christopher Chapman, different last name, so probably a tenant, But they were looking for not Chapman himself. They'd already arrested him, so he was in custody. Christopher Chapman, they were looking for drugs that purportedly, some heroin, I believe, was the alleged drug here that Chapman, they believed he had. Ultimately, the police did not find anything in their search, but that didn't stop them from firing incendiary devices through the property's windows, kicking in the doors, and entering the property SWAT style with semi-automatic weapons and damaging property and terrifying 2 women who were still in the house and creating an unjustifiable risk of accidental death or injury, according to the suit brought by the Civil Liberties Union of New Hampshire. It was originally a $1 million lawsuit. The city ultimately settled for $275,000 in this case. Yet another cash-in for another victim of police oppression. The police trying to come after videographers for so-called wiretapping charges. Now, one of the problems in New Hampshire is that New Hampshire is a all-party consent state where everyone who is part of a conversation that's being recorded has to consent to that recording. And there are only like 3 or so. There's not very many states that have this. Most states are one-party consent, which means that only one person, if one person is aware the recording is happening, then it makes it legal. So if you are in a conversation in most states, and I believe this is the federal law as well, please call and correct me if I'm wrong about that, but that if you're a part of the conversation and you're recording the conversation and you don't tell anybody else, then that's legal in pretty much every state, with the exception of New Hampshire. I think Massachusetts is also one of the bad ones, and I believe Illinois is one of the bad ones where all of the parties need to know and ostensibly consent to the recording. And so that's why the New Hampshire police are so brazen about these arrests, is they just think they're going to get away with this because the laws are written pretty poorly when it comes to wiretapping here in New Hampshire. But the good news is, even though you can't legally record a private conversation you're having with other people, like on a phone or in person in New Hampshire legally, you can record the police. And in fact, there have been multiple court cases. This one with Valentin is not the first one. There was actually one involving Carla Garrick, who was the former president of the Free State Project. She was arrested on the side of the road in New Hampshire for recording the police openly with a video camera. She lost, or she was arrested. She won the civil case that she and her attorney brought against the Ware Police Department and collected $57,000 in that case. And now Valentin is collecting $275,000.
Well, yeah, because now the police should know better, so now we have to punish them incrementally.
They sure as hell should know better.
Which makes sense, but...
There's more coming up here in moments, but yet, what will it take for them to actually learn? Because obviously they haven't yet. It's Free Talk Live.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us on the radio. Our number 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype on in at Skype username LRN.FM. Here tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Let's talk nutritional supplements for a moment. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. And by the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 a month. If that's a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't, the perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. Visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more and use coupon code FTL to get 10% off of your order every time you order. Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. And yes, they do take Bitcoin. You just need to send them an email to get the Bitcoin payment option. Once again, that's simplifymysupplements.com with code FTL for 10% off. We were talking about the good news out of Manchester, New Hampshire, where Manchester police are being ordered to shell out $275,000. Unfortunately, that's coming out of the pockets of taxpayers and not directly from the pockets of the officers in question, who arrested a man for peacefully recording the officers inside his own home while the officers were conducting a search warrant, attempting to find some evidence of drugs, which they never did find. And whether they found it or not, it is absolutely your right to record the police, and there have been multiple court decisions that have made this clear. The Glick decision is probably one of the most recent that is within the last decade that is the most important on this matter. They cited the Glick decision in the Garrick decision, which came out later, which was a New Hampshire-based case with Carla Garrick, who's the Free State Project former president. She got a $57,000 settlement. Now Alfredo Valentin, who is, I don't think he's a libertarian or anything like that. He's just a man who stood up for his rights. He's a man who recorded the cops, and they arrested him for his trouble. And now he's getting $275,000. Attorney Gilles Bissonnette from the New Hampshire Civil Liberties Union, he had this to say, quote, "The settlement recognizes that the right of citizens to observe and record the police is a critical check on the use of power and force by law enforcement. The police need to understand that individuals who are recording their work without interference have a constitutional right to do so, and it is not cause for their arrest." So I am happy to see this case end the way that it did. Obviously, it's traumatic to go through what this man went through with his door being kicked in and grenades being fired through the windows of the property. That's pretty terrifying. But nonetheless, he's come out $275,000 ahead. And ultimately, my question is, what will it take for these bureaucrats, these police bureaucrats, to actually stop arresting videographers?
Well, I mean, the same thing that it's going to take to get rid of the state, just maybe on a specific, more specific level, I guess. I mean, they have no real, unless something happens to them. I mean, they're not paying this out. I mean, they don't have that kind of money.
But at some point, don't you think that somebody in the city government's going to say, "Hey guys, cut it out. This is costing us. And yeah, we can keep raising taxes, but ultimately, this needs to stop." Is that going to happen at any point?
Well, I mean, it depends on if the police chief or the sheriff, whichever the case is,
at least it's police,
decides that losing that budget money, if it's even coming out of that budget,
I don't know,
is worth, kind of the less terror and fear that he's going to lose from ordering them to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. And maybe Manchester thought that they could get away with it, where the smaller town of Weir, New Hampshire, couldn't. I mean, I don't know if it was just the brazen attitude of the officers, or of course they're, some of them aren't known for their intellect, so maybe they just weren't even thinking in that moment. They just saw a man with a recording device and decided to attack him.
Well, I mean, although in New Hampshire they have kind of intelligence limits instead of intelligence maximums like they do in most other places.
What do you mean they have intelligence limits?
In Keene, they have, in Keene, I think you have to actually have a 4-year degree. Not that means you're intelligent necessarily, but they don't seem to be the departments that have an IQ cutoff maximum limits, which is pretty normal.
Like New London, Connecticut does. They have that. Where
plenty of places do.
At the very least, I mean, I'm not in favor of college degrees, but at least that means they're not just hiring anybody who can fog a mirror.
Right. Or they have tests. They're not intentionally hiring unintelligent people, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I don't know what Manchester's police policy is. It could be different from Keene's.
I don't know, and they didn't seem like the few ones that I have interacted with didn't seem
in Manchester.
Didn't seem stupid. Like they didn't seem. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just send the more intelligent ones to us because they know we'll sue them. I don't know. Maybe if I was, somebody else, I would have a less fortunate experience. But it doesn't. But then you have to have those people on the staff to begin with in order to be able to do that. And it wasn't like they weren't sending us kind of the older, like they weren't sending us like 60-year-old officers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of places will do that because they hired those guys on back when they had either standards or at least didn't have anti-standards. But it was like, same age as what the other ones seemed to be.
Kudos to the New Hampshire Civil Liberties Union, by the way. I mean, these guys do really great work. It's the ACLU, their branch in New Hampshire. They, I think that as far as like different groups of activist type, political people, the NHCLU or the ACLU of New Hampshire is one of the best, like one of the top 2 groups here in New Hampshire as far as across the board. They are pro-liberty on almost everything. There's very rarely a time with which I will disagree with their position on an issue. They're really good. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like the ACLU for whatever reason. Ultimately, they're one of the, at least here in New Hampshire, they're one of the most consistent and principled and pro-freedom groups that we have lobbying the state government. And they do more than lobbying the state government. They'll go and talk to state legislators in their hearings and argue in favor of freedom on a lot of issues, a lot of civil liberties issues. But they'll also sue and protect people's rights in court. So I think from that aspect, they're even probably arguably better than the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, which is also another good organization. I'm a life member of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, so I got nothing against them, but they're only political. They don't engage in suing to protect rights either. So kudos to the New Hampshire Civil Liberties Union. I think they do some great work. Let's go to Sarah in New Mexico. And by the way, I think that it would be interesting to see more, like, if there's an attorney who could just go out there and start recording police in the hopes that they'll arrest him and just keep doing it until they finally stop. I'm sure attorneys have better things to do.
Well, you have to have a lot of time and money.
Right.
You'd have to be retired.
Yeah.
Or
Nonetheless,
independently wealthy.
It is interesting because the guy Glick in the Glick case, he was an attorney. So that just happened to be the case. They accidentally arrested an attorney. Whoops. Let's go to Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, it was announced that I think we have 71 murders so far this year.
Uh-oh. How many of them by cops?
Probably
I don't think they count those.
No, they don't.
No. So they found this guy dead in the backyard now, but like a teenage guy. And we still have like 3 more weeks, so we might kill another 1 or 2.
Are you going to arm up to defend yourself, Sarah?
Well, you know what? I did not come out of the house, but you know something?
Huh?
I do. I'm in favor.
Oh, you don't come out of your house? That's not going to keep you safe from being murdered. Staying in your home after dark is not a way to keep yourself from being murdered. But thanks for the call tonight, Sarah. We're going to continue here with the Edgington Post in moments. Mark Edge is on the road, but he's actually coming back this week for a limited time, but he's been continually recording his Edgington Posts, and we're going to share one of those with you coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
All right, we're back with another edition of the Edgington Post. It is Mark Edge, and I am doing Free Talk Live, or at least this segment of it, remotely from the Cato Institute. I have with me David Beer, and you are an economist here at Cato Institute?
I'm the immigration policy analyst at the Cato Institute.
So I have lots of questions. If you want to make the telephone lines just blow up with people on Free Talk Live, all you have to do is say that free people should be able to cross the borders of free countries freely, or you don't have free people in free countries.
Well, that does seem to be the case. It's a very controversial topic, but that's essentially the libertarian position. You should have a presumption in favor of the freedom to move, and that should include for citizens and non-citizens. Citizen rights, that's a separate issue. The right to vote is a separate issue, but the basic liberty to move and live where you want should not be something that the government should restrict just because you were born somewhere else.
Now, I have heard many, many times, never backed up with any evidence, but I've heard many times people say, and usually it'll be sort of conservative guys that'll say this, but maybe they come from the left too that say it, but that show me the nation state that has existed in the past that didn't have immigration restrictions, as though the appeal to history is, somehow makes sense. I do it in my own mind. I appeal to history all the time, but
sure.
I mean, I've tried to think about it, and I think that passports and all that stuff is a World War I creation.
That's right. Before World War I, the United States had almost entirely open borders. The only restrictions prior to the 1880s were for people who were criminals and similar type of situation. You needed to have a sponsor in the United States, so an American citizen who was willing to take responsibility for you if you became indigent. But other than that, there was really no restrictions on immigration except for the Chinese.
Right, the
unfortunately, the old Chinese Exclusion Act. But before World War I, you're right, the United States existed for a majority of its history with no real restrictions on immigration in the same sense that we have today.
And what about historical restrictions on immigration? The first thing that made me think of when somebody said it was sort of the Ostrogoths. Was it the Visigoths being pushed by the Ostrogoths? The Ostrogoths being pushed by the Visigoths to the west in Europe, and thus infringing on Roman territories when they were being pushed by the Hun. I think I've got this right. I could be just mixing up a whole bunch of things together. But other than that, I mean, that was a mass migration, not an immigration issue. But nonetheless, I really couldn't think of immigration restrictions.
Right. Yeah. So, the Roman Empire had really a civil conception of citizenship. It was something that was in principle open to anyone, regardless of where they were born. And so when they took over new territory, it was assimilated into the empire. And really, that was what allowed them, was a strength to their empire for many years. But really, until World War I, really the world had a very open, free immigration system. There were some exceptions, the Russians, but really that was the direction that the world was heading right up until that first Great War.
Before, and I'm just going to use the term broadly, before socialism, before the sort of progressive era in the United States, before, very serious people with cigarettes and berets, striped shirts in European coffee shops were discussing exactly how they could solve the world's problems by giving all power to governments. Before that happened, human labor was an asset. This is human capital was something you wanted to attain. Yeah. Every conqueror that existed prior to this wanted new people, and they wanted new people because there's really only two forms of assets, and that's land and people to work the land. Right. What happened, that people became just so averse to the notion? If you said, hey, let's bring on, and by the way, I don't know my Mexican provinces very well, but let's just let Chihuahua join the union, right? I think that you'd find people's heads exploding with just the very notion of this, because they would think immediately, cost. What would this cost us? Whereas at one point, it wasn't a cost. It was they threw triumphs for Caesar for bringing in new territory.
Sure. So you're absolutely right. Human beings are the ultimate resource, which is what Julian Simon, the famous libertarian economist, described, and really why the radical environmental left is wrong. Human beings, overpopulation, all of those concerns were wrong, because human beings create the solutions to the problems that they pose. So yes, there are costs to having people, but there are also much greater benefits to having them. As far as what went wrong, if you actually look at the history of the United States, what went wrong was the progressive movement in the United States, which saw government as the opportunity to socially plan the entire economy and society. And part of that planning was an explicit promise that we really program our population. We figure out who are the best types of people and only accept them into our country. And so really giving immigration controls over to the government to figure out which types of people are going to be best suited for the United States was really a big government program, and really one of the first major examples of bureaucratic, the creation of this bureaucratic state that we have today was really that immigration agenda in the 1920s.
If they were letting the best of the world's best come here to the United States and work and build this nation, I'd still be all for that. I realize that the government, the government can mess up anything, but they're not doing that. They're trying to keep engineers and software analysts and all kinds of people that do the things that they do out in Silicon Valley out of the United States and make it very difficult for people to come here. Sure, come here and study and pay our universities for your degree, but then don't stay. It's insane.
Sure, absolutely. And so if you look at the 1920s, how they selected the best of the best was just based on racial categories. So they just excluded the Italians because they were of inferior race. Now we think of Italians as, Italian Americans as the heart of America.
We just think of them as Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so today we have a concern about the number of Indian Americans who are coming in and working in high-skilled industries in Silicon Valley. And it's really no different. The idea that we should basically protect the industry from competition is really, like you said before, a socialist idea. Really, the tradition in the United States has been one in which you want to have competitive markets, and competition ultimately benefits consumers, which is all of us. And really, protectionism is something that ultimately harms all of us, because yes, it's great for me if I'm a software engineer if I keep out other software engineers, but it's really bad for me if I keep out everyone, which is really what we're doing, keeping out everyone from every other industry in the country. And that's why socialism failed. This monopolization, control by the government, really protected their industries, but ultimately harmed consumers and the people in their economy.
It stifles growth, and growth is good for a particular industry and a particular software engineer. It's good for those people. They don't see it in the short term. I get that if you're sitting there and, you're sitting in a room waiting with 10 other people interviewing for a job, and you look at them and say, that person's got an accent. I don't like that. That's fine, but, ultimately robots are taking jobs, from people too, and we're not outlawing robots.
Yeah.
Now, talking about sort of lower income people, these are they never get the fireworks, they never get the spotlight, but these are the people that build the economy, right? I mean, this building we're sitting in wasn't built by a bunch of engineers that rolled up their sleeves, took off their white hard hat, and then began operating cranes. It was construction workers and, guys that started many cases started digging holes.
Yeah, so 70% of the American workforce does not have a college degree. That's still true even today, and that fact alone should tell you the idea of kicking out everyone who doesn't have a college degree is not a path to prosperity. If we got rid of 70% of the workforce, America would not be a more prosperous country. And so once you have a principle and you're willing to say, well, we're only willing to accept college graduates, if you applied that principle to the fullest extent, where the economy was only college graduates, you'd have to think about what is the implication of that? What would that ultimately lead to if taken to the extreme?
Hold it right there, David Beer. We're going to have to take the rest of this to the podcast. Listeners, you can find the remainder of this interview when you go to archives.freetalklive.com. That's archives.freetalklive.com. Thanks.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.